When you think you're fancy, but you're not, go and listen to Flopshot.
Is this like a little sponsorship right here?
No, but it's gonna be sponsored by Yerba Mate, Guayaki. It's not sponsored, but
It looked like it was perfect, like ad placement right there.
it is. It's strategic, but at the same time, I drink these literally every day.
Well, then that's perfect. That makes the best sponsorship.
Well, yeah, it's got to be organic, and you want it to be.
You even had that crisp.
Yeah, you want the listeners to get like your
yeah.
first sip because people.
Yeah, like all of the ASMR fans are going crazy right now.
No, people are probably losing their mind. They're like, "Why did you just drink into the microphone?" Welcome to episode 4.
Amazing! This is my
Flopshot.
first podcast. Pretty stoked.
So, for anybody who doesn't know, Cam works at Topgolf. He is the social media. I don't even know what your title is, but you're the social media guy.
Yeah.
If you go on to Topgolf's, any of their socials like TikTok, Instagram, you'll probably run into a video with Cam in it.
Maybe. Yeah, my official position, I guess, is social media specialist, but yeah, I mean the bulk of it is helping manage and run the social media pages, which is, I mean, it's amazing. It's awesome.
Can't believe that this is your first podcast.
Yeah, first.
Is it weird that you're like talking, you're sitting next to me, that you're like talking into a talking to a camera and into a microphone?
I will say I'm not sure if I look at you or if I look at the camera. So
if you want all your fans, funny story. We went to Topgolf today because it just opened in Boise, and as soon as we walk in the door, one of the managers or one of the people that came from like another location to basically train everybody is like, "Hey, you're the social media guy." What'd she say? What'd she say you were?
Are you the social media guy?
Yeah, Cam was getting selfies with his adoring fans right off the bat. Nobody asked me for a selfie.
And you're the famous guy.
Nope.
Like
nobody knows who. Nobody had any idea who I was.
Yeah,
you're the famous one.
Not yet. Once we get you in the venue, everyone's gonna, they'll go crazy.
No, they won't. No one cares.
Yeah, they will.
No one cares about.
We'll have to get a Lego build in the Topgolf, full size of the Topgolf.
Ooh, that's gonna be expensive. I don't know if you guys can afford that.
Topgolf, if you're watching out there, let's make it happen.
Topgolf, just sponsor this podcast along with Guayaki. So I'm actually wearing my Topgolf hat.
Oh, it's just perfect. Amazing.
Product placement, okay? This is my first sponsored episode. It's not really sponsored, but
not sponsored yet.
Someday it'll be sponsored. I'll get sponsors. I just don't know who.
Yeah,
I'd like it to be Guayaki. If your boss calls you during the podcast, you have to answer it.
No. Actually, I'm just gonna toss this.
No, you have to answer it.
I'm not gonna be answering it.
Just turn it on speaker so that we can all hear it.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I'll give an update to why I'm here. I'm in Boise because
you're supposed to pronounce it just so people don't get mad at you.
Hold on, Boise.
Yeah, Boise.
So that was one thing that I did hear.
I really don't care, but
so one thing I did hear actually back in Dallas, someone said, "Hey, just by the way, it's Boise, not Boise." And I'm like, okay, sure, I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna say Boise, and someone's gonna actually care. And of course, this is the guy that tells me I'm saying it wrong.
Nobody cares.
Boise, I did hear that, but yeah, I'm in Boise. I'm in Boise for the opening of Topgolf Boise. I'm sorry, I can't say Boise. Can I just say Boise?
Say Boise. I don't care.
Boise, okay.
It's like Lego and Legos. You can't say Legos when you're talking about plural. Because like the hardcore Lego people will be like, it's Lego, it's not Legos. And I'm like, who cares? Nobody cares, okay?
Yeah, okay, that's...
It's
I don't want to say it's ridiculous, but that's
what it is.
Ridiculous.
It's like a center of the world complex where everybody thinks the world revolves around them. They think everybody is paying attention to what they're doing. Nobody cares. People only care about themselves, is what I've learned.
Yeah,
To an extent.
I've never heard that you couldn't say Legos, but I did find out you can't say Boise. But I'm gonna be the guy that says Legos, and I'm gonna say Boise.
Me too. And I live
Um,
here. I can
yeah.
get away with it. I'm a native now. I'm 19 years here, so
Yeah,
and I don't care. I say Boise just because it's
Boise.
been ingrained in me. But
yeah.
but all of like the anytime somebody comes in for like a Boise State game, like the announcers, they always say Boise, and we actually at the Steelheads we say let's get noisy in Boise, and everybody goes crazy. And I'm like, so why are we allowed to say it over the PA?
Exactly. Exactly.
But
it's
but
just
noisy
it's,
doesn't rhyme
folks,
with Boise.
we're in Idaho. This is what people get mad over: Boise versus Boise. But yeah, I'm in Boise because we're opening up a Topgolf next week in Boise. It has been what seems to be long awaited for the people of Boise. People have been asking for it forever on social media. It's probably the most asked for venue, which is like, I mean, we still have a lot of cities that we haven't touched yet, so it's kind of crazy that Boise gets the amount of hype that it does. But yeah, it finally opens up next Monday, which is probably, by the time you're seeing this, it's already open.
Yeah, it's already open. By the time this is out, it's already open.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, super cool venue, probably the best view I've seen in any venue. Maybe take out Vegas and Dubai, but man, it's a good looking venue.
I think Topgolf is going to sponsor this with the amount we're talking about Topgolf.
Well, yeah, I mean that's of course
Flop
that's
golf
why
at
I'm here.
Topgolf.
That's why
what
I'm here.
I'll post that little video of us playing flop golf at Topgolf.
Yeah.
I talked about that with my cousin the first episode I did. We were talking about the flop shot. And we started when we were talking about some flop golf, and because we were talking about sponsors, and I was like flop golf at Topgolf, and then when we were there, I was like, I have to hit a flop shot with my.
Wasn't the best one. It was not the best.
No, it was
flip flop.
But
flop shot.
that makes it better.
Exactly.
Sometimes those are the ones. But that's a good segue to how you and I met.
Oh yeah, this is a good story.
Do you want me to tell the story, or do you want to tell the story?
How about you tell the story?
Okay, I'll tell you my version of the story.
I'll interject wherever I feel I need.
Okay, I'll tell my version of the story from what I remember, but my memory is not as good as yours because you're a young kid and I'm old. So you're probably going to remember it better than I am and probably differently than I do. But so Cam started out at Topgolf like 4.5 years ago. How long have you been there?
Yeah, it's been about 4 years and a couple months.
So the girl that wanted to take a selfie with him, this probably stemmed from Cam. So he was. I'm going to tell your side of the story, and then I'm going to tell how we met.
Okay.
So Cam was working there as a server, right?
Yeah.
And one day he's with his buddies, and he's like, "All right, we're gonna do." He's turned into like influencer mode. Probably how many followers did you have at the time?
Oh, okay. So first, just to go back a little bit further.
Okay, take us back. I think you should tell the story.
Okay. I was working at Topgolf, serving. Ended up I started in the front as a 17-year-old, like checking people in.
You were 17 when you started there?
I started when I was 17 years old, and then I was just checking people in like they walk through the door, and I bring them to their bay, and that was that. And then I ended up just going through the process of going to the next step every time I could. So eventually made myself up to like a team lead, which is essentially like an hourly manager.
Okay.
And during like this time of like being a server and being a manager, TikTok had like just came out, I guess, or no, it had been out, but it had
gone from Musically to TikTok.
But
so this is when
even
TikTok
then, it was probably a good year after it had switched over to TikTok. But it was starting to like get some momentum, and I remember I was just like at one of my shifts, and I posted probably the stupidest TikTok. Like I was just standing behind the front desk, and I put just some silly words on the screen. I couldn't even tell you what it was, and then like that was the video. Like it was super. Just I made it in like 5 seconds, and I had like 20,000 views
on TikTok.
On TikTok, it was my first video.
You didn't have any followers.
This is in like 2019 or 2020.
Okay.
Like nothing. 20 20,000 views. So I'm like, oh man,
I'm
this
onto
is
it.
good.
I'm an influencer now.
I'm gonna post on TikTok again, and it just like crashed. It was like nothing, but I still like. I mean, it's so easy to post on TikTok that, like you just really like. I don't know. You really wanted to make content just because it was so easy, and it could just turn on like that. And then I started. I like picked up golf not too long ago, but I started filming some like golf content because if you work at Topgolf, you get unlimited like hours of free Topgolf. So I'm like, I'm gonna use this to my advantage, and I'm gonna film all these videos at Topgolf because I have unlimited time to film here. So I start filming, and it ends up like gaining some traction. I put out some like fairly big videos, like a million views here and a million views there. But then I had this one shot where I realized that I had never seen anyone get a hole-in-one in the red target. So if you've ever seen like a target in Topgolf, there's like the outer rings, there's like inner rings, and then there's a bullseye, which is like those two targets right in the middle.
Which is basically impossible to get it in there.
Well,
like
that's the bullseye.
to
so
dunk
it's
it.
like
It's like dunking a hole in one.
I would say the bullseye is about this wide. Right?
Oh, I'm talking about the actual cup.
Right. I'm talking about the bullseye is about this wide, and then you have a cup in the middle. It's
literally
honestly,
like that size.
It's about this wide. I was like, I've never seen. I know people have gotten like I had gotten a hole in one in the red. I know people get them on accident, on purpose, all the time, but I'd never seen it on video. I was, oh man, this is perfect. Like I have to get this. So I started filming myself attempt them, and I would just post like for the first 8 videos, all the ones that would hit against the cup, and I'd hit 10 against the cup out of 300 shots, and I was doing that for a while, and it was doing well. It was like 100, anywhere from 100 to 500,000 views, and I was missing, like I wasn't even making it in. So I was, I remember there was one day I was sitting there, I was like, I know if I make it in, like this is gonna be a good video. And then there was this one night, I'm at Topgolf, and my buddy came after my shift. So this is like after I had been working, and we had only played for about 45 minutes, and he's recording all these shots. There's like 3 minutes till close. The place is empty. They're turning off like the lights. The music is off. Like if you watch the video, you can't hear anything like normally at Topgolf because everything's off. I mean, I'm hitting my last couple balls, and all of a sudden I put one up there, and then into the cup,
Ping!
and it just it was amazing. Went crazy. And then that's where I can switch it over to like how you saw it from your perspective. Once I posted it, it had ended up, kind of like I thought. It made its way onto SportsCenter and ESPN, Barstool Sports, like all of the major like sports media platforms, and it just spiraled. And then like next day, I had posted it to my channel, like on Instagram, and I made this shot. I was like, oh, well, I have to have an Instagram to post this on. So I made a golf specific because I didn't want to mix like my personal account and all this golf stuff. So I made a golf account, posted it up there, and all of a sudden I see this comment from a guy that has a blue check mark.
Oh, blue check mark? Are you kidding me?
And what's crazy is I still remember exactly where I was. I had just I went to this Chipotle right next to my house.
Mm-hmm.
I got Chipotle. As I'm walking out, I get the comment, and I'm like, "Are you like? Is this for real? Like this guy's a verified like user. Like this is crazy." So then I like basically drop my Chipotle on the ground. I start messaging him back. Hey, like thanks for the comment, essentially. And then I click on his account, and I see like, he's got 60,000 followers, and he makes these crazy golf stop motion recreations. And I was like, amazing. We should make one, right? I'm like everyone says, right? I imagine everyone asks that, but I sent that over, and I think you said something around the lines of like, hey, I'd love to like meet you or just like hop on a call or whatever. Like, what's your number? I get home and I FaceTiming you, and it was just like super nice guy giving me advice because I had like 50 followers when I posted that. Like it was brand new account, nothing, and here I am getting some social media advice from a guy with a blue check mark, and that was like the initial Cam Golf's meeting Gold Yeller moment.
Well, I remember it from my perspective, because I get comments like that all the time,
Yeah.
and I think a lot of people had sent me that video because I like on my stories I was always doing like a hole-in-one type thing where I'm like, I want to get a hole-in-one,
Yep,
Ace
yep.
Cam. It was like Eric Anders Lang. I'm like, Ace Cam's live.
Yep.
And so people are like, check this out. This kid got a hole-in-one. And so I think I look, usually I don't just comment right away because I'm like, I kind of want to get a vibe because yeah, the blue check mark automatically like piques people's interest.
Yeah.
Where they're like, oh, who's this? You know, and then all of a sudden they're asking for stuff and you're like, okay, it's not like I'm a famous person, but it's like that kind of makes you like more
Seriously,
relevant on social media.
It stands out.
So I remember I looked at your page and I was like, and I'd seen all the other stuff, like I'd seen SportsCenter, but I commented on your video.
Yeah.
Cuz like most people will just comment on like the SportsCenter one and it's just like, oh, great, you just gave SportsCenter a ton of engagement. But I commented on yours specifically because I was like, this is cool. This kid seems cool. Your reaction was priceless because you're just like, no way.
Pop it up on the screen
No.
right here.
Yeah, I will. We'll cut to it right now.
Oh my God, I saw that. No way.
But yeah, your reaction was priceless. And I was just like, oh, that's cool. Like, that's kind of what I pictured in my mind would happen when I finally got a hole-in-one, where I was like, I don't know how
Totally
I'm gonna
stole
react
your
to it,
glory.
but now I'm going to have to like one-up it and like jump in the pond or something if I make a hole-in-one. I don't know what I'm going to do if I ever get a hole-in-one. I have no idea how I'll react. I'll probably just be like, same thing. No way.
Yeah.
But so then we jumped on a call because you're like, oh, how about if we made a Lego stop motion video? And I'm like, yeah, I get paid to make these. I don't think you can afford what I charge. But for whatever reason, I have no idea why. I didn't know you. I didn't even know you worked at Topgolf. I just thought you were some kid that was at Topgolf.
Yeah.
Ended up getting a hole-in-one, and I was like, oh, this is cool. Like the video was cool, but it was your reaction that got me. And so I was like, this kid seems nice. So we just hopped on a call. I still remember where I was when we had the FaceTime. I was right down by the arena, and we chatted for probably like a half hour. And I remember like my first time when I had a viral video where I'm just like, my life is just different now.
Yeah.
And so I was, it was almost like a fatherly type thing or like a cool uncle where I'm just like, okay, this is what you do.
Yeah.
This is how you talk to
Yeah, 'cause
girls.
I had,
this is what,
Yeah,
I wasn't giving you that kind of advice, but I was like, this is what I know from my perspective.
It was interesting because, I mean, there's definitely like different levels of it where, you get that first like 10,000 views and you think, okay, like this could be something, and then 100,000 and 1 million. And like before, I thought, I have some big videos, whatever, but like it goes quick. Like when you hit one of those videos that is all over the place, it goes quick. So that was huge.
Is what they call it.
That was huge for me to like have someone that wasn't just trying to chop me up as soon as the video goes out there. Yeah, that was great.
Well, and one thing about social media, like our connection that we have started on social media. One thing that you see a lot of on social media is people being negative.
Yeah. Where
they're like, they have to give their 2 cents. And I'm just like, why are people so negative on this? I don't understand it. So I try to be the opposite. I try to be positive. Even when people are negative, like on stuff that I do, I try to be positive. And I try to like, sometimes I'll try to make them feel bad where I'm like, do you need a hug or whatever?
Yeah.
But like, so when somebody that you think has some type of fame is like talking to you, you're like, oh, this guy's talking. It's like when PGA Tour
Yeah, I
guys
know.
will talk to me. I'm like, why are these guys DMing me?
Yeah, my heart. I was in my living room, and I'm like, I'm pacing around like everyone, on the phone. You find yourself in the weirdest positions. I'm walking around FaceTime. My heart's going like this. I'm like, dude, this is a big like Instagrammer, and I'm on the phone with him. Oh my god!
Yeah.
But yeah, it was that was definitely that was cool. That was a cool introduction. I'll never forget this guy.
But then, so I saw something in you though. Like for whatever reason, you had this kind of, I don't even know how to put it into words. It's like a spark, where I was just like, this kid is such a nice kid. Like just from that's why I wanted to hop on the phone. I was like, if this kid's some like douchebag, like thinks he's cool and like entitled little,
Then you're just gonna
millennial,
block my
whatever.
ass. And
I'd just be like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, I was like, there's something about this kid. So, like, fast forward to now. That's a quick fast forward. So, we'll break it down a little bit. So now you're working at Topgolf. You've moved to Dallas, Texas, where you basically run the social media with a couple other people.
Yeah.
For Topgolf.
Yeah.
You went from being a server, making a hole-in-one that you videoed. That's the thing nowadays with kids. It's like people are like, well, so how do you get all these viral videos? And it's like, I don't know what videos are going to go viral.
Yeah.
Like there's so much that goes into it. It's like, just make stuff that you're passionate about. And that's going to go through that's the same with this podcast. I'm like, I don't know how many people are going to watch this podcast.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of people now.
Sure.
That are like, that's so awesome that you're doing a podcast. Like it makes people happy, especially other podcasters that I know where they're like, this is so cool that you're doing this. And so like I kind of felt that way about seeing you kind of I was like, hopefully this kid doesn't get a big ego. Like cuz some of these kids
absolutely.
They all of a sudden think that they're too cool for school just because they've had a couple viral videos and I'm like, okay, but like what are you going to do with that? You have like a bad baby who's like, catch me outside, how about that? And then she's like the number one like somehow she's transitioned that into millions and millions of dollars and a lot of attention. That's not the kind of attention I would want to have.
Right.
But to each their own. But like I definitely saw something in you. And so it's funny now, like to bring it all full circle, where you're coming to Boise to open up the Topgolf, and I'm like, that's Cam.
Yeah.
It's almost like a proud uncle moment, even though we're friends. Like I'm not your uncle, but like I'm like twice your age, and so it's like to be friends with somebody who's like younger, it's kind of weird, but it's not. It's not weird at all. It's not.
No,
I mean,
really
not
not.
weird for me because like it's funny too when I was in Dallas and you picked me up and we're listening to like the music that you're listening to. I'm like, dude, I listened to this in high school. Like how do you know this? Like you're like an old soul.
That one's well, to be fair, that one's shout out to Connor. I'm sure he's gonna end up seeing this, at some point. He totally put me onto that. I don't know, call it 90s.
How old
90s hip
is
hop?
Connor? In his 40s? How old is he?
No,
30s?
he's in his like 50s.
He's in his 50s?
No, I'm just playing. He's in his 30s.
I was gonna say that.
No.
If he's in his 50s, he looks
No.
good for 50s. I was like, there's no way.
Oh, then maybe we should just stick with the 50s. But yeah,
he's in his 50s.
So he's from out west, like in California. So which is not like, I'm from DC, like East Coast. He's West Coast. The music he listened to is nothing I would have like.
But you're
ever
listening to like
to.
Ghetto Princess from like Lost Boys, and I'm like, how old are you?
21.
How does a 21-year-old listen to
Yeah.
this music? And that was music that I grew up on. So I'm like singing along to all the songs. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I've got to give it to the old head Connor because he definitely put me onto all that music. Honestly, like this year, but yeah, no, it's good. It's good stuff.
But now
I'll never tell him that though.
Now, yeah, don't tell him this. He'll never see this. he'll probably see this. But now the things that you get to do from it too, it almost makes me like gives me a sense of pride when I see the stuff that you're doing, and then to be able to. So when we linked you guys up with Chase Rhetoric, Logic's DJ, he was like, hey. He was on tour. I don't even remember how it all came to be. So I think you guys set him up in a bay or something while they were on tour because he golfs a lot. And then he's like, hey, do you think that I could message these guys about like setting up my buddy TJ, who DJs for Kid Leroy? And I was like, who's Kid Leroy? Like I didn't know who he was until I heard his. They're like, you would know who Kid Leroy was. And then
Totally.
I listened to some of it. They're like,
Totally.
he's on tour with Bieber right now. So then I'm like, yeah, just send him a message. I'm sure they're not going to care.
Yeah.
Like if he's a big deal.
Right.
And so they send him a message, and it turns out you're a huge Kid Leroy fan. So then you, after you're in LA with us for what were you there? What were you in LA for?
The PGA Memes event.
Oh,
was
you were
happening,
there for
and
PGA Memes.
They had their event at Top.
And then
Golf.
Cam's like, I gotta fly back to Dallas because I'm setting up Kid Leroy in a like a private suite or whatever.
Yeah. So
So it's,
like,
tell me that story.
Well, okay, so everything was super last minute, but essentially the PJ Memes guys, they wanted to host an event at Top Golf, and it's always fun to have someone from our team go to those events and help like two things: capture some of that content like for our own use, but then the other part of it is because we are Top Golf, it's always good to have like a good Top Golf like
Rep.
connection, so that if anyone needs anything. Like I know exactly what to do, where to go, who to talk to make
You're
sure
the
that
liaison.
everything is nice and smooth. So it's always nice to have that. So I went out to that PJ Memes event because I had met quite a few of you guys that are all in it, and I think like the day before I was supposed to go, my boss had told me, Kid Leroy. He's coming to Dallas and he wants to play in Dallas. Like if you want to go help set them up, like I think it would be a cool moment for you to go set them up. And like you said, I'm a huge I love Kid Leroy. I've been listening to him, since I was like a freshman in high school, which honestly isn't that like too long, but it's a long time for me.
Yeah, no, that high school is those are formative years for listening to music.
Absolutely.
For sure.
So I was listening to him since then, and so I flew out to LA, and then I got the text like, hey, he's gonna be there, you should go. So like as soon as the event was over,
you bounced. I think you left before.
I was out of there. And it was a race against time because they were supposed to play midday at like 2 p.m. and my flight was supposed to get at like 1:30. So I was like, oh man, this is cutting it. And then I like download the Wi-Fi on the plane like halfway through because I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to see what's going on. And it turns out they want to come at 8 p.m. So
they pushed it
out. I'm
Perfect.
like, I'm cool, I'm set. I get in, I go there, and with with these celebrity kind of like meetings at Top Golf, it's always a field of situation kind of thing. Like, you go and you see if they're chilling with you, then you can hang out with them.
What are the vibes?
If they're not, which more often they're not, they're just there to golf with their friends. So you just take care of them and you're out. But dude, I gotta tell you what, Kid Leroy probably like the coolest. Like the coolest person, just super chill. I was messaging with his DJ TJ, who I actually have connected with quite a few times since, and just that whole group, like just some of the best vibes. I think I was telling you leaving Topgolf like 2 weeks ago, or whatever. It was probably one of like the best, like the coolest nights ever. We bring them into our VIP suite in Dallas, and that suite is one of a kind. I mean, there aren't, because it's such an old location. It was like in 2005 we made that one, and it's the only one that has one of those really nice suites.
It is a cool
location.
So
I get in there, I clean the place. I make sure that it's really spotless for the Kid Leroy, and they're like, oh yeah, you can plug your phone in, you can play your own music in here, all this, that, and the other. I'm like this is the only place where you can listen to your own music.
That's perfect.
So I end up meeting them out front. He's got like, his security and like his stylist, and we go inside, and I was like, hey, like, do you guys just want to listen to the music they already have? Do you guys want to listen to your own music? They plug it in, and they just start listening like this super like chills, like Bakar, and like honestly just a lot of Bakar style like songs. A lot of it I honestly hadn't listened to, but like it was just like, I don't know, it was just like the coolest vibe, and it was really hot. So it's in Dallas, it's July, and it's 110 degrees outside.
He's got his shirt off.
Yeah, it was like 110 degrees.
That's my kind of guy right
He
there.
hits a couple balls, and he's like, "Oh man, it's hot. You mind if I take my shirt off?" And I'm like, bro, like absolutely. I mean, we're in a little 2-bay suite.
You can do whatever you want.
Took off his shirt. I mean, that was the vibe, and he's, it was cool because, like, for me, anytime where it's like someone golfing for the first time, it's super important for me to like make sure that they can hit one out there, because if they whiff all day or they shank it all
they're
day,
not gonna like it.
that's the last time they're ever gonna want to swing a golf club. So I'm like, I just gotta, because I mean, we all get that feeling when we hit a ball like, right down the middle, where it's like an itch, and you're looking for that again. And most of the night, he starts off and he's kind of putting it way to the left, or he's putting it high and right, and I'm like, maybe we don't use the driver. I give him a 5-iron. He tees up his ball on a with a 5-iron, which is unorthodox. But again, if he hits it straight, I'm not gonna knock it.
Yeah.
And he just starts
Piping it.
just lasers, just starts like pumping him out there, and he's listen to his music.
And you're like, this
hits
kid's a
one out
natural.
there, and he's doing this thing. I'm like, this is fantastic. And it turned out like a bunch of the people there are from his team. They all grew up like 10 minutes from me, so like,
So you guys
I'm
all knew
talking
each other,
about
yeah.
these people talking with these people, and I'm in Dallas, Texas, talking about where I had moved from, with these people that live in California,
Yeah.
that were also from there. So it was like this. It was just like the best like culmination of like of vibes, to be honest with you.
Well, it's just so cool how like the universe just kind of all put that together. Like just things
Oh,
happen.
yeah.
Things definitely happen
Yeah.
for a reason. You and I jumping on a call happened for a
Yeah.
reason, so that eventually, shout out to Chase for hooking up this guy with Kid Leroy, one of his favorite artists. Like and just like the way that I met Chase, like the way that I meet all these people, and like you just get a vibe from them right away, and you're like, oh yeah, I like this person. Like you can just tell right off the bat. You're like, I'm not sure I'm gonna like this. Sometimes you're wrong. Sometimes I'm wrong, where I get like a bad vibe from somebody. Sometimes I give off a bad first impression. We all do. But yeah, no, I just think it's so cool that you got to do that and do something that, like, I could care less. I would have been like, Kid
Yeah,
Leroy.
no,
I'd
that
be
was
like, okay, cool. Is this like a clout
for
thing
me.
for
that
me?
that was like a
Yeah, I wouldn't have.
That was a big. That's one of those things where it's like, man, if you ever got the chance, I wish I could do that. And it was like, within the year, something like that was happening. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, and
That was pretty cool.
it is cool. And I remember we were talking yesterday about meeting Casey Neistat. You're like, oh, I love Casey Neistat.
yeah.
And so I told you all my stupid stories of when I first met him, and like basically like was tongue tied, and I was like, why am I acting this way over another grown man?
No, I mean, to be honest, I've met quite a few people that I've followed like virtually my whole life, and it's the same way every time. I never know what to say. I'm super just super shaky. Cody Ko was actually.
Really?
Oh yeah. When I met Cody Ko, I mean, I've
Yeah,
been,
you were telling me. I didn't know who he was.
I've been following Cody Ko since like maybe like the end of elementary school, like middle school, so like a long time. Like
So you like grew up
yeah,
watching
like
this guy.
Vine and YouTube, all that kind of stuff. And I ended up like after having a couple like meetings with his team. I'm like 2 days later, I'm just playing the course out in El Segundo. I finish and he's sitting right there, and I go up and I'm like, "You're Cody Ko," like obviously, right? But I'm like, "You're Cody Ko. Hey, what's up, man?" I'm like, I didn't know what to say. I'm like, "Oh, I'm from Topgolf."
I like you.
I'm like,
and-
"Hey, if you want to like you like Topgolf, I can help with that." Like I was just like, I had no idea what to say, but like one of those moments I've been following forever, and now he'll hit me up if he wants
Yeah.
some bay. It's just
Yeah.
it's one of those crazy things, but yeah, totally. I mean, My tongue gets twisted all the time talking to people I've been following forever.
Well, and as I've gotten older and met more fancy people or people that I deem as fancy, you just start to realize that they're just people. Like you're like, this is just a regular dude. He probably
Yeah.
just wants to be treated like a regular person. I'm probably not going to ask him for a photo, even though I would love to have a photo with this person. But some people are cool. Like when I met Casey, he's like, "You want to take a picture?" And I was like, I didn't have to ask him.
Right.
So I was like, "Yeah, of course I do." So
I definitely think with most there's like a level of if you don't act like a fan, they won't treat you like a fan, right? So that's most of those instances. I try to do my best and just be like,
but also you
just
don't want to come in as like
someone-
Joe Cool, where you're
Oh,
like,
sure,
"Oh yeah,
sure.
this is not a big deal. You're not
absolutely.
a big deal."
And I think
'Cause
finding
they
that
can-
medium
people can
is
see
what
through that,
I think
yeah.
finding that medium of I'm not a fan, but like I'm also, I respect you. Finding that like in between is the moments when I don't know what to say
Yeah.
and the face gets red. That whole deal.
Yeah, no, I've had a few moments like that in my life, and every time afterwards, I'm like, "What was I thinking? Why?" I
Yeah.
probably sounded like the biggest idiot. And that's the other thing too, is we think the world revolves around us. Casey Neistat would never remember any of the interactions that him and I had. I remember those.
Yeah.
He's probably had so many interactions like that he wouldn't, like, if I went and introduced myself to him and met him for like the 4th time,
Right.
he'd be like, he would act like we've never met before. He'd be like,
Sure.
you're,
Hey,
even if he did
how's it
know me,
going?
he'd probably be
Oh,
like, yeah,
Top Golf.
yeah,
Cool.
yeah. He'd be like,
Yeah.
So that's the thing, is like, you think that you're just like, oh crap, like I just screwed
Who?
up
All right.
everything.
My turn to ask the question.
Okay.
Who would you meet that would make you, hey, can I please get a picture?
I don't know. When I met Dave Portnoy, it was kind of like that.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
We were at the Daytona 500 in the players like meeting. So there's not that many people in there, and it's him and what's the guy's name that won the Super Bowl MVP? Julian Edelman. So him sitting next to Julian Edelman, I'm like, that's Dave Portnoy. And then I didn't even know it was Julian Edelman sitting next to him. One of the guys that I was with was like, that's Julian
I honestly
Edelman.
don't know if I would know.
And I was like, I don't really care. But so usually I don't go and ask for photos or anything like that. But I went up to Dave Portnoy and I was like, I talked to him for a little bit. And then I was like, is it cool if we take a picture? Because I was like, I'll never see this guy again.
Yeah.
Since then, we've done stuff where like I've collaborated with him on a pizza Lego review.
No.
Yeah, I'll show it to you.
I was gonna say I need that story. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's I mean, I still don't really know him. I think he still follows me on Instagram, probably. I haven't checked.
That's big.
But yeah, I've talked to
That's
him a bunch in the DMs, but that was the only time I ever met him. That was a guy where I was like, I have to ask
Yeah.
him for a picture
Yeah.
because I don't know if I'll ever see him again. Casey Neistat was another one. I don't know if Tiger Woods maybe? I'd probably be like,
No, I think.
But I probably wouldn't ask him for a picture. I'd probably just go like maybe talk to him, maybe not. He kind of has this like mystique around him.
Oh yeah.
Where it's like, I don't even know if I would like this guy. That's the other thing too, is like they tell you not to meet your heroes. Not that Tiger Woods is my hero. Wayne Gretzky would be one where I'd be like, I gotta go talk to Wayne Gretzky.
I wouldn't be able to tell Wayne like if you put him up against like 3 other guys, I wouldn't know between the 3.
If I met Wayne Gretzky, I would go talk to him. I don't know who I think that Wayne Gretzky is probably the only person I would ask for a picture because he seems like he's cool. Seems like he wouldn't be bothered by it. But I like having stories more than I do that picture because
Totally.
I don't need validation from
Yeah.
other people. I could care less what other people think about me. If you can't tell by looking at me, I don't really care.
I don't know what you mean by that.
Yeah, I really don't. Like, as a father of 3, married for 19 years, I'm kind of like, I don't need the new Jordans. I don't need to try. Like, I'm going to wear my flip-flops.
You do need the new Jordans.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
If they make flip-flop Jordans, I'll wear those. Do they make those?
Bro, we're not wearing flip-flop Jordans.
Jordan, hit me up. Michael
not.
Jordan, that's another one. If I met Michael Jordan, I would probably ask him for a picture.
I
Jordan and Gretzky are the two.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say I feel like Tiger, I'd be a little bit tripped up, but
Tiger, I don't know if I'd ask him for a
like-
picture, though.
see, I think Tiger, out of any, I would ask for a picture.
Really?
I think the other one would be Drake. I think Drake's
Drake would be cool. Yeah.
Drake's one where like I might go speechless. Like I might go mute, but
See, I don't think I would.
I think that one's big.
I think we'd talk about like Canada or something. I'd be like, when do you
Of
think they're going to open up a
course,
Top Golf in Toronto, Drake? That's what I'd ask him.
Yeah, no, I'd probably ask him about oh yeah, I remember that one Top Golf swing you had. We actually just posted that video last week.
Yeah, I saw that.
From a different podcast. Yeah,
Yeah,
Drake,
I saw that. That was
big
funny.
guy.
Yeah, I don't think I would ask Drake for a picture. I think Michael Jordan and Wayne Gretzky, sports guys, are probably the only ones I would ask. I think that's it. You would ask Drake? Would you ask Michael Jordan if you saw him, or that's before your time?
No, I mean I like Michael Jordan.
Yeah, but
I would definitely
you never
go up
watched
to him,
Michael Jordan
dap
growing
him
up or
be
anything.
like, "Yo, Michael Jordan,
Who's your NBA
you're-
guy if
you're
you
for
saw
real.
him where you'd be like, I need to talk to this guy, or I need a picture with that guy?
dude." Honestly, I think LeBron would make me a little
Yeah,
bit.
see, I could care less if I talked to LeBron. I probably wouldn't even talk to LeBron. If I was in the same room as LeBron, I'd probably be
Not-
like, nah, I don't care.
Oh, see, LeBron, like my favorite era of basketball was watching, I don't know, 2010 to 2014, watching
I
like
would talk to Steph Curry.
the
I
Miami,
love Steph Curry.
the Miami, what was it? And see, now I'm forgetting, three-peat or almost three-peat. I think it was almost three-peat, where they went like, they won in 12, won in 13, something like that. I think the Mavs won in 2011. That's because
Yeah.
I'm a big Dallas guy now.
2011, yep.
But
Dirk Nowitzki.
yeah, that trio of Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, and LeBron, like that was for me, like that was the NBA
yeah,
growing
that was
up,
it.
was watching those guys. So LeBron would be my
You would
my
want to
number
talk to LeBron over Steph Curry?
one.
I'd rather talk to Steph. Steph seems a lot nicer
okay,
too.
okay. I would much rather talk to Steph because we have a pretty cool, like,
And he golfs too.
yeah, but well, that's all I was about to say is we both golf. I've seen him golf in person, so that would give me something to talk about right away. Oh yeah, I saw you, whatever. Like with LeBron, I'd be like, yo, you looked really good in 2012. Like I wouldn't know what to like. I wouldn't really know what to talk
What would you
about.
say to him?
I'd probably just be like, yo, you're for real the king.
Really?
That I wouldn't know what, like, or I'd probably tell him that, like, growing like middle school, high school, everyone talking about, oh, MJ's the GOAT, or oh, Kobe, R.I.P. Kobe, Kobe's the GOAT. I was always the guy. LeBron's the best. LeBron
Really?
can get it
Would
done.
you just say that just to get a reaction out of people, or you legit think that he's the GOAT?
See,
little bit of
nowadays
both.
it might be a little bit different. But like in high school, middle school,
You thought you were like, that's
I was
my guy.
die hard. Like no one is better than this guy.
Wow.
He's jumping over dudes like it's nothing, and then next place, draining one in your face from the arc. Like,
Yeah, his heyday was impressive for sure.
yeah, crazy.
But I'm not as big a basketball guy as you are either.
I like basketball, but I can't call myself a basketball guy.
What do you call yourself, football guy?
No, I love football, but
What's your
like,
favorite sport?
I mean, recently I do like to watch golf. I'm kind of an old
know,
man
isn't
when it
that
comes
weird?
to that. But I do like to watch golf just because.
Why do we like to watch golf? It's so boring. Like to actually watch these PGA Tour. It's fun to go to the. But I'm like, why am I watching this on TV?
So,
if it's like not
okay.
a major.
Yeah, fair. So for me, watching golf is like I think there ends up, at least for me, when I got into the sport, it was all about like, okay, if I'm gonna be better, I'm gonna emulate someone's swing. And for me, that was Roy McIlroy. I was like, okay, I'm gonna swing like him. So then that day on, now I'm a Rory fan. So when all the tournaments are on, I'm a Rory fan. And then you're just, you start watching a couple of these because you golf, and then once you start to like learn the players, I think it makes it a little bit like more interesting, because then you'll find out like a Tony Finau for the longest time, like he wasn't winning anything.
No, it wasn't.
He isn't. Now all of a sudden,
He had his breakthrough.
he's like 2 wins out of what was it, like 10 starts or something like that, which is good. So now all of a sudden there's like this interest in, okay, Tony Finau, and then the next person comes around, and the next person comes around, and it's this always evolving. Whereas a lot of like the team sports, you're just inclined to root for your team, and then they're really bad one year, and then they're bad again. And in my sake, like I'm a Washington fan, like Washington all sports. It's hard to watch like Washington football, and it always has been. But with golf, quite frankly, you can update who you're rooting for every single Sunday, going into last day. Oh, I want this person to win. I want this person to win, and it changes, and it makes it every week you can watch it, and
That'd
it's
be
like
tough
a completely
to be a
different
Washington fan. How old were you when the Redskins won the Super Bowl?
I was.
Were you not born?
7 years until I was born.
It was that long ago.
So
Rippon actually was born in Calgary.
Since I've been alive, Washington has made it to the playoffs. I want to say 3 times total.
Ooh, that's a tough
Since
team to
I've been
root for.
alive, they've made it 3 times
Did
total.
RG3 play for them?
Yeah, that was one of them. And I've been alive for 1 playoff win. And I was 4, so I didn't even know what was going on.
That's tough.
So really, since I've been self-aware, I have never gotten to watch.
Are they good this year?
Okay, so they're doing better.
But they're not good.
No, they're 6-5. Like they're
so they could go to the playoffs.
Yeah, they're at like, they're over 500. But the NFC East, NFC Beast this year, they're going crazy. Eagles are 9-1.
Yeah.
Cowboys are 7-3.
Cowboys
Giants are 7-3.
Yeah, it'll be tough to get
So
out of
I'm
there.
at the bottom, but if you look at the standings going into the next couple weeks, there's a chance for Washington to break through, which will be really fun. I'm liking that Taylor Heineke guy. He's doing well for us.
Okay, give me your dream foursome. So 3 other people that you would want to play golf with.
Oh, I mean that's tough, but honestly,
It could be people that you've already played with that you're like, I vibed with those
Sure.
people. I want to play with them again.
I think I would be just disrespected in the golf community if I didn't say Tiger, because I don't know anyone that wouldn't want to play with him.
Yeah.
Unless they've already played with him. I would have to go Tiger. I
think I'd be scared to play with Tiger.
I would. So
'Cause I feel like I'm not
gonna
good
give
enough.
I'm gonna give you kind of 2 answers.
Okay.
So I think if I were to play with Jack Harlow is another one of my
What's popping?
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like one of those up there. If I met him, I'm gonna be shaking.
We'll
then,
figure out if we can set up a meeting for you.
I love Drewski as well, but the 2 of them together is something else. So I would say like Tiger, Drewski, Jack Harlow.
Is Drewski a comedian or is he what does he do? I saw him on like Full Send podcast or something, but I didn't watch it.
Yeah, he's a comedian.
Okay.
He's
Drewski, Jack
hilarious.
Harlow, and who else?
And Tiger.
And Tiger.
I think that would be just like talk about a fun day of golf. Like that would be good. See, it would be tough because, I mean, no discredit to Tiger, but I think the vibes would be incredible. Without Tiger potentially.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, again, I can't not say Tiger. But if I had to drop the duo, I would say like Tiger, Drake. Man, that's hard. I'd probably choose like I think golfing with MJ just because he knows how to golf.
I hear he talks so much trash too.
See, that's great because I talk a lot of trash on the course.
It would be fun to talk trash with Michael Jordan.
Yeah,
especially if you're playing
until
a
he
sport.
Starts killing you.
But if you're playing a sport where you can actually compete with him, where
exactly.
It's not basketball.
Exactly.
Like if you're trying to talk trash to Jordan and you're playing basketball, you're like, he's old and out of shape, and he still can dust me.
I think MJ would be like, yeah, that's one of those where you'll die remembering that moment.
Yeah, imagine like draining, like holing out in front of Jordan, and you're just like, all right, I'm done.
Yeah, that's one of those days though where you'll wish that you're playing, like 54 holes or something crazy where it's just that the round just never ends.
What about this round? Steph Curry, Michael Jordan, and LeBron, and you golfing.
So Steph Curry is a part of the Callaway family. So I have my
you
eyes.
might be able to play with Steph
I have
someday.
my eyes on trying to hit some golf balls with Steph at some point.
That would be sick.
At some point, working on it. Not really working on it, but I'm gonna.
You're speaking it into existence right now. Steph Curry, if you're listening
you said
to this,
MJ?
Cam wants to golf with you.
Please.
Just make it happen.
You said MJ, right?
Yeah, MJ,
So-
Steph, and LeBron.
So, I think MJ would be great, but like as a one-on-one, right? Like
Yeah.
I think going head to head with MJ
Yeah, that's too
would
much
be
star power.
just the greatest. But then you add Steph, like maybe it's like a greed moment, but I don't want MJ talking trash with Steph Curry when I'm over here sitting in the back. Right?
I think it would be
Right?
cool if you're playing with MJ and LeBron and you're like hyping up LeBron in front of MJ.
So-
I think that would be funny. Like the
so
the
I love
16-year-old
LeBron,
Cam
but
is like,
I don't know if it would be
LeBron, you're the
very-
GOAT.
So
What would you say? Would you
I
hype
love
him up?
LeBron. I love LeBron, right? As a basketball player. I'm sure you saw the shot at Topgolf that just went viral like
Mhm.
2-3 weeks ago. I don't know if it would be fun to try to play golf with LeBron. I would cash in my ticket to play basketball with him, or like play with Bronny. I think that would be more fun than playing golf.
Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah, I don't even know who I would put in my top. Gretzky would probably be up there.
Man, hockey guy.
Yeah,
I could name one hockey player.
Wayne Gretzky.
No. Well, yes.
Connor
I guess 'cause you
McDavid.
said it. Absolutely not. I've never
Sidney
heard that
Crosby.
name. I think I've heard his name. Alex Ovechkin.
Ovechkin.
That's
Oh,
my
'cause you're
guy,
a Capitals
Washington guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
You're
cool.
a Caps fan.
Yeah.
I think I would put probably Jordan, Gretzky. If we're going like pure star power, Steph Curry would be a fun one to mix in that group. And I think they're all good golfers. I don't want to play with somebody who's like way better than me though. Like I wouldn't put Tiger in that just because I'd be like, this guy's judging every single swing I take, how I come over the top, or
I can
how I'm
guarantee you
slicing
that
this.
that Tiger Woods his entire life has been playing with people
I'm
that
sure
are
he has.
worse than him. He would think you're just another you're probably just the same as Roy McIlroy is to like some little kid trying golf out. Like he's way above everybody. But yeah, Tiger. I think he's gonna shoot 5-6 under. I'm shooting 5-6 over. Probably the greatest round ever for me.
I think I would have wanted to play with Tiger before he got in accidents and his body was
Yeah.
deteriorated.
100%.
I think that would be way better, but that's never going to happen. So
Yeah.
I'll stick with Jordan, Curry, Gretzky. And I'm not even a big basketball guy. Should be all hockey guys. Paul Bissonnette would be fun to play golf with. That's the Spittin' Chicklets podcast guy. He's hilarious.
I don't even know
Bissonnette.
who that is.
Gretzky, Connor McDavid.
Actually, kind of going back to what you said earlier, Dave Portnoy, I think would be
Portnoy would be fun to play with. Yeah.
like hilarious to play with.
He would be a fun guy to play with.
Hilarious.
Ricky Fowler, I think, would be fun to play with too.
I don't know if I'd want to play with a tour player unless it was Tiger.
I would. I'll play with any tour player.
I feel
playing
like
with tour
for the
players.
most part, those guys they take it so seriously.
The ones that I've played with have been really cool.
So okay, which tour players have you played with?
Dylan Fratelli, awesome guy.
I know you.
Kevin Na, super nice guy.
Kevin Na,
Yeah,
another Callaway guy. I think Dylan Fratelli's also Callaway.
yeah, both
Yeah.
both Callaway guys.
Man,
Kevin Na was the story with Kevin Na. We're already almost over time. We got to get to the hot springs. I'm taking him up to the hot springs. So I'll tell you a quick story with Kevin Na. It relates to PGA memes, actually. So the way that I met Travis, he reached out because of one of the Tiger videos that I did for the PGA Tour. And like it was one of those ones that was everywhere. And so he's like, hey, I have a PGA Tour player that was kind of wondering what the process is to get one of these made, like for one of his wins.
yeah.
So I was like, I don't know. I need like a new set of clubs. Maybe if we could like go play. I knew he wasn't going to pay for it.
Sure.
So I was like, maybe if we could go and like play at his home course, me and my cousin. I'm like, you can come with us if you want. So me, Travis, and my cousin went and played with Kevin Na down in Vegas.
That's amazing.
It was awesome.
What course?
Southern Highlands.
Southern Highlands. Okay.
Have you ever played down there?
No.
It looks like
no.
should not be in Vegas. It was
Interesting.
like
Interesting.
a little
Yeah,
oasis in Vegas.
Kevin Na is a cool like. I follow him on Twitter. I think.
Well,
I think
everybody
that's
hates
where
on him
I
now
follow him.
because he joined the Live Tour, but he
Okay,
is
well, then
one
people
of.
are going to be hating on a lot of people.
Yeah, I know he is a super nice guy. Cam Smith would be a fun one to play with as well.
Yeah, Cam Smith.
If it was like players that are playing golf at the moment at a professional level, like Kevin, Cam, and Dylan would be a fun group to play with. But I've played with
Interesting.
two of those three.
Interesting.
I think Cam Smith would be a really fun guy to play with. He
If
just
I
looks like
if
he
I
does
had
not
to
care.
if I had to choose tour guys to play with, oh man, I don't even know actually. I shouldn't have even brought it up. I would say probably Rory McIlroy.
Pick Rory.
I don't know. Maybe like an Akshay Bhatia, if you know who that is. He's one of the Cali guys, young kid.
Yeah, I saw
But
him on Corn Ferry Tour.
He's a stud. He's a stick.
Seems like a super nice kid too. He's the one
I
that
think
won with
he'd
his
be fun.
girlfriend on his bag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
well,
She caddied for
have
him.
you heard that story of his girlfriend?
Yeah. He like they didn't
On
even
TikTok.
really. Yeah.
So yeah, they were on. He like, no, she posted like some, I don't know if it was thirst trappy, but it was kind of like that, like,
Yeah. It was,
hey, look at me kind of
yeah,
video.
It was thirsty.
And he responds, and all of a sudden there's like this duet chain going back and forth
Yeah.
about, and I'm like, what am I sitting in on right now? Like these guys need to get a room, right? Like
Take
it's
this to
literally
the
it's on
DMs.
TikTok,
Go
right?
to the DMs with this.
And then a couple weeks later, I see like they're hanging out, they're dating. I'm like, what? Like over like.
And then he wins
this
on
is-
tour with her on his bag. Well, it was Corn Ferry Tour, wasn't
But
it?
still,
Yeah, that's a big. That's
he
still
won a
big.
tournament, and his TikTok girlfriend is on the bag.
Yeah, that was pretty sick.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I think
That's
he'd be a
next
fun one to
level.
play with too. I saw him.
He'd be
That
fun.
was one guy that I was like, I kind of wish I would have went and said hi to him.
And
at
I
least.
do like he's like 22, 21, so he's like the same age as me.
Yeah.
I like all the young guys coming out on tour, so I think that would be super fun.
Well, I think that's about all the time a podcast should be. That's a shout out to my friends at Country Club Adjacent, because we're almost at an hour and we got to go up to the mountains to show this guy what Idaho has to offer. He's never. Have you ever been in a geothermal type hot spring?
I don't even know what that is, bro.
You're about to find out. Thanks to Guayaki for sponsoring the. Thanks to Top Golf, Flop Golf at Top Golf. If you ever see me playing Flop Golf at Top Golf, that means that Top Golf is now a sponsor of this podcast. They haven't paid me, but this is the first sponsored by Top Golf. That actually would be pretty
Maybe.
cool. We should do a podcast. We'll have Cam on again, and we'll do the next time it will be at a Top Golf.
First, absolutely. Second, for my first podcast, I thought it was going to be a little bit like harder to fill the time, and I feel like I still have a lot to talk about.
We do.
So we do need to do another.
We have an
episode.
hour-long drive up into the mountains where we can continue this podcast off air. And,
Sounds
and
good.
we can say
then
whatever we want.
We'll script out part 2 since we scripted this whole thing, right?
I mean, this was pretty.
Yeah, I mean, I'd
We
work
probably should. We probably should script these things a little more. They kind of go off the rails. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, and we're out.
See it.
When you think you're fancy but you're not, go and listen to Flop Shot.